I think it's going to backfire on them. I believe their own rhetoric. They're about to kick an anthill in this impeachment trial that is going to reveal their own hypocrisy and their own fiery rhetoric, and it's going to be very difficult for them to find a hiding place to get away from those kind of comments.
And the second impeachment trial of former President Trump begins tomorrow in the Senate. The House charged him with incitement of insurrection for his role in the deadly Capitol riot on January 6th.
And as lawmakers prepare for the start of the impeachment trial, some are asking what's the point now that Donald Trump is out of office, and some questioning whether or not the trial is even constitutional. Here to weigh in, Fox News contributor and former House Oversight Committee Chairman Trey Gowdy. Trey, at that vote that was taken in the Senate a couple of weeks back on Rand Paul's motion, 45 senators voted that an impeachment trial post-presidency is unconstitutional. Do you expect that a trial over the coming days will suddenly cause enough of those senators to change their mind that they might actually convict the president?
I do not, John, and I can tell you, having done trial work, when you start the trial with half of the jury thinking you shouldn't even be there, you're not going to win. None of those 45 will change their mind.
I think it's very unlikely, right? I mean, you did have 45 Republican senators vote to suggest that they didn't think it was appropriate to conduct a trial. So you can infer how likely it is that those folks will vote to convict.
In order to convict former President Trump, 17 Republicans would have to join with Democrats, but the odds of that happening are slim to none. Last time around, Utah's Mitt Romney was the only Republican senator who voted to convict him. Democrats will try to persuade other moderates like Toomey, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and Ben Sasse. Senator Paul says the trial sets a dangerous precedent and highlights a double standard.
But I think if we're going to criminalize speech and somehow impeach everybody who says, oh, go fight to hear your voices heard, I mean, really, we ought to impeach Chuck Schumer then.
We heard from the president's lawyers earlier today and sort of their last glimpse at what their trial arguments are going to be before things open up tomorrow afternoon. I found this to be particularly intriguing. The only reference to force in the president's speech on the 6th of January was in taking pride in his administration's creation of the Space Force. Mr. Trump never made any express or implied mention of weapons, the need for weapons, or anything of the sort. It goes on to say Mr. Trump used the word fights in the figurative sense of arguing or putting forth an extreme effort.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
Now compare that to what President Trump said that sparked this new impeachment trial.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
Constitutional law expert Alan Dershowitz, who represented the former president at his last trial, says the Trump team needs to focus on two things.
The Constitution doesn't authorize the removal or impeachment of a person who's no longer in office, whose term has expired. And if they argue that the speech was constitutionally protected, they will win.
One of the things that we're expecting the president's defense team to bring up is statements that were made by Democrats over the past couple of years about Republicans. We put together a montage of that. This is some of what, at least, they're expected to present at the trial. Listen here.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
I got up and talked about the president's cabinet, and I said, if you see him anywhere, if you see him at a restaurant, if you see him in a department store, even at a gasoline station, just tell him you're not welcome here.
Please don't just come here today and then go home. Go to the Hill today. Get up and please get up in the face of some Congress people.
And all the while, the Democrats pointing their finger at those who are political opponents, condemning us for our speech when their inflammatory comments have been so much worse and have created much of the riots and violence that we've been watching for this past year all throughout our country. And now they're coming after to cancel and silence anyone who is a political opponent. This is frightening and should never be done in America. It never has been done in America. And for the Democrats to be taking this kind of step, I think it's going to backfire on them. I believe their own rhetoric. They're about to kick an anthill in this impeachment trial that is going to reveal their own hypocrisy and their own fiery rhetoric. And it's going to be very difficult for them to find a hiding place to get away from those kind of comments.